There is a quiet exhaustion many people carry today, not the kind that comes from physical work, but the deeper fatigue of constantly responding, constantly adapting, constantly trying to keep up with a world that never slows down. You may feel it when you wake up already tense before the day has even begun. You may feel it when your attention is pulled in 100 directions, yet nothing feels meaningful. You may feel it in relationships that seem loud but empty, busy but fragile. This exhaustion is not a personal failure. It is a sign that the outer world has become faster than the inner one. As the future approaches, uncertainty is no longer an exception, it is the environment. Information moves faster than wisdom. Emotion spreads faster than understanding. Noise replaces reflection. In such a world, the greatest danger is not what happens around you, but what happens inside you when you lose your center, when your emotions decide your actions, when your fears shape your identity, when your worth depends on approval, comparison, or constant stimulation. Protection then does not come from control over others, nor from predicting the future. It comes from a mindset that is rooted, steady, and disciplined, a way of being that cannot be easily shaken by chaos, provocation, or loss. This mindset is quiet, it does not announce itself, it does not seek validation, yet it determines how you respond to stress, how you treat others, how you stand when life becomes uncertain. This is an invitation to slow down inwardly, to listen, to reclaim authority over your own emotional world. What follows is not advice meant to excite you. It is guidance meant to steady you. It is not about becoming more impressive. It is about becoming more grounded, so that whatever the coming years bring, you remain intact. The first protection you must develop is stability before ambition. Many people are chasing goals while standing on unstable ground. They want success, love, recognition, or freedom. But their inner world is restless, reactive, and fragmented. Ambition without stability creates anxiety. It turns every setback into a crisis and every comparison into a wound. Before you ask how far you can go, you must ask how firmly you can stand. Stability begins with understanding your limits, knowing when to rest, when to stop consuming, when to step back. It is the ability to remain steady even when progress is slow or invisible. A stable person does not panic when outcomes are uncertain. They do not rush decisions to escape discomfort. They allow life to unfold without abandoning their values. In the coming years, speed will be praised, but steadiness will be rare. And rarity is strength. When you build inner stability, your goals change. You no longer chase what excites you temporarily. You commit to what sustains you long term. Your nervous system becomes an ally rather than an enemy. You begin to move with intention instead of urgency. This is protection, because a stable person cannot be easily manipulated. They are not pulled into every trend, outrage, or promise of quick fulfillment. They choose carefully. They move slowly, but they move with direction. The second protection is mastery of emotion over reaction. Emotion itself is not the problem. Unexamined emotion is. When emotions are not understood, they take control. Anger speaks before wisdom arrives. Fear makes decisions that logic never would. Desire rushes toward pleasure without considering consequence. Emotional mastery does not mean suppression, it means awareness, the ability to feel without being ruled. When you observe your emotions rather than obey them, space is created. In that space, choice becomes possible. You can feel anger without causing harm. You can feel sadness without becoming hopeless. You can feel attraction without losing self-respect. This is not weakness. This is refinement. In a reactive world, the calm observer holds immense power. Emotional mastery requires practice. It asks you to pause when provoked, to breathe when overwhelmed, to question the story your mind tells you in moments of intensity. Over time, emotions stop feeling like storms and begin to feel like signals. You learn from them instead of drowning in them. This inner skill protects your relationships, your reputation, and your peace. Because the future will test emotional maturity more than intelligence. The third protection is discipline as daily protection. Discipline is often misunderstood as harshness. In truth, It is care. Discipline is choosing what strengthens you even when it is not convenient. It is doing what aligns with your values regardless of mood. In unstable times, discipline becomes a form of shelter. It creates predictability inside you when the outside world is unpredictable. Daily discipline does not need to be extreme. It is found in simple commitments kept consistently. Waking up when you said you would. Limiting what drains you. Honoring your word, especially when no one is watching. These small acts compound into self-trust, and self-trust is one of the strongest forms of protection a person can have. When you trust yourself, you are not desperate for external reassurance. You are less likely to abandon yourself for comfort or approval. Discipline strengthens your identity quietly. It shapes who you are becoming without needing constant motivation. In the coming years, motivation will come and go. Discipline remains. It is not exciting, but it is reliable, and reliability is safety. The fourth protection is clarity through silence and restraint. Modern life encourages constant expression, opinions, reactions, explanations, everything shared instantly. But clarity is not found in constant output. It is found in thoughtful restraint. Silence allows understanding to surface. It gives you time to see what truly matters and what is simply noise. Restraint does not mean withdrawal from life, it means intentional engagement, choosing when to speak and when to listen, choosing depth over volume. When you reduce unnecessary input, your perception sharpens. You begin to notice patterns in your thoughts, habits, and relationships. You see where your energy leaks. You see what nourishes you and what depletes you. Clarity protects you from confusion. It prevents you from committing to paths that are not yours. It helps you recognize when something feels wrong, even if it looks right on the surface. In a world that rewards constant reaction, the person who can remain silent long enough to see clearly gains an advantage that cannot be taken away. The fifth protection is responsibility for one's inner state. This is one of the most challenging disciplines because it removes excuses. It means recognizing that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you are responsible for how you interpret it, how you respond to it, and what meaning you assign to it. Taking responsibility does not deny pain or injustice. It acknowledges reality without surrendering agency. It shifts focus from blame to understanding, from helplessness to choice. When you take responsibility for your inner state, you stop waiting for the world to change before you find peace. You begin cultivating stability regardless of circumstances. This mindset is deeply empowering. It means your well-being is not entirely dependent on others' behavior, past experiences, or future outcomes. You become an active participant in your own growth. This responsibility is not heavy when carried correctly. It is liberating because it returns power to where it belongs, within you. The sixth protection is strength rooted in calm presence. True strength is not loud. It does not seek dominance. It does not rush to prove itself. Calm presence is the ability to remain grounded in yourself while engaging fully with life. It is confidence without aggression, boundaries without hostility, compassion without self-betrayal. A calm presence influences others without force. It creates safety in conversations, stability in relationships, and trust in leadership. People feel it before they understand it. This kind of strength comes from alignment, when your thoughts, values, and actions are in harmony. There is no inner conflict drain in your energy. As the world becomes more chaotic, calm presence will stand out. It will attract the right people and repel unnecessary conflict. It will allow you to navigate uncertainty without losing yourself. This is not a technique. It is a way of being cultivated over time through awareness, discipline, and self-respect. Protection in the years ahead will not come from hardening your heart or isolating yourself. It will come from refining your inner world, from becoming steady where others are reactive, clear where others are confused, calm where others are overwhelmed. This mindset is not built overnight, but once established, it becomes something no external force can easily take from you. Strength rooted in calm presence is not something you perform, it is something you inhabit. When you are calm, you do not rush to defend your identity. You do not argue to prove worth. You listen more than you speak. And when you speak, your words carry weight because they are not fueled by insecurity. Calm presence is the result of inner alignment. Nothing inside you is fighting for attention, so nothing outside can easily destabilize you. This strength is especially important in relationships. Many connections today are built on emotional hunger rather than emotional stability. People seek others to regulate feelings they have not learned to manage themselves. Calm presence changes this dynamic. You no longer enter relationships to be completed or saved. You enter them whole. This allows connection without dependency, closeness without fear, and love without losing yourself. When challenges arise, and they will, you do not escalate. You respond. You do not absorb chaos. You remain grounded while acknowledging reality. This does not mean you are passive. Calm presence includes firm boundaries. It means you know when to step forward and when to step back without anger or guilt. This kind of strength protects you from burnout, emotional manipulation, and unnecessary conflict. Another layer of protection that grows from calm presence is patience. Patience is not waiting helplessly. It is trusting the process while continuing to act with integrity. In a world that demands instant results, patience becomes a form of resistance. You are no longer pressured to rush decisions that shape your future. You allow clarity to emerge naturally without forcing answers before they are ready. Patience also deepens self-respect. When you do not rush your growth, you honor your own rhythm. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You understand that lasting stability is built slowly, through repetition and reflection. This mindset protects you from impulsive choices that feel good in the moment but cost you later. With calm presence comes discernment. Discernment is the ability to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. You recognize when something aligns with your values and when it does not. You stop romanticizing situations that drain you. You stop justifying behavior that unsettles your inner peace. This clarity saves you years of confusion and emotional exhaustion. Discernment also applies to information. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. You become selective with what you allow into your mind. This is essential in a time where constant exposure to fear, outrage, and comparison weakens emotional resilience. When you protect your attention, you protect your nervous system. When you protect your nervous system, you protect your future decisions. Another quiet form of protection is humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking clearly about yourself. You recognize your blind spots. You remain open to learning. You do not assume you have arrived. This keeps you flexible rather than rigid, grounded rather than defensive. Rigid minds break under pressure. Flexible minds adapt. Humility allows growth without shame. When you make mistakes, you correct rather than condemn yourself. You learn instead of spiraling into self-judgment. This internal environment makes resilience possible. You do not collapse under failure, you integrate it. This protects your confidence in the long term because it is not built on perfection. As these qualities mature, stability, emotional mastery, discipline, clarity, responsibility, and calm presence, you begin to notice a shift. Life does not necessarily become easier, but it becomes clearer. You suffer less from unnecessary resistance. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. This reduces inner friction, which is one of the greatest sources of exhaustion. You also begin to feel less fragmented. Your actions reflect your values. Your words match your intentions. This coherence creates inner peace. Not the absence of difficulty, but the absence of inner conflict. When you are not divided against yourself, external challenges lose much of their power over you. This mindset does not isolate you from the world. It allows you to participate without being consumed. You can care deeply without being overwhelmed. You can engage passionately without losing balance. This is the protection that matters most, not armor against life, but alignment within it. As this alignment deepens, you begin to experience a different relationship with uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer feels like a threat that must be eliminated. It becomes a space you can stand in without panic. You stop demanding guarantees from life before you move forward. You learn to act with integrity even when outcomes are unclear. This is a powerful shift because much of modern anxiety comes from the illusion that certainty is required for peace. It is not. Stability comes from trust in your ability to respond, not from knowing what will happen next. When you trust yourself, fear loses its grip. Fear still appears, but it does not dominate. You recognize it as information, not instruction. You listen without obeying blindly. This allows courage to emerge naturally. Not dramatic courage, not reckless action, but quiet courage. The kind that shows up consistently, that makes difficult but honest choices, that walks away from what compromises your values even when it is tempting. This courage protects your integrity. Integrity is alignment between what you know is right and what you actually do. When integrity weakens, inner tension grows. You may succeed externally, but internally you feel fragmented, uneasy, restless. When integrity is strong, there is a sense of inner quiet that does not depend on circumstances. You sleep better, you speak more clearly, you move through the world with less internal resistance. This is protection that cannot be measured, yet it determines the quality of your entire life. Another layer of protection that develops is emotional sobriety. Emotional sobriety means you no longer chase emotional highs or avoid emotional lows at all costs. You stop using distraction, validation, or stimulation to escape discomfort. Instead, you allow emotions to rise and fall naturally. This creates emotional resilience. You become less dependent on external conditions to feel okay. Pleasure becomes something you enjoy, not something you need to survive. In a culture built on constant stimulation, emotional sobriety is rare. Many people are emotionally intoxicated by outrage, desire, comparison, or fantasy. This keeps them unstable, reactive, and easily influenced. When you step out of this cycle, you reclaim your attention. Attention is life force. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Protecting your attention is one of the most practical forms of self-respect. As attention becomes steadier, your sense of purpose begins to clarify. Purpose is not always a grand mission. Often, it is a direction rather than a destination. It is the commitment to live in a way that reduces inner conflict and increases contribution. Purpose, grounded in awareness, is flexible. It adapts without losing its core. It allows you to evolve without feeling lost. Many people feel disconnected because they are chasing identities instead of cultivating presence. They ask, "Who should I be?" instead of "How am I being right now?" Presence brings you back to what is real. It anchors you in this moment where choice exists. When you are present, you are less haunted by the past and less anxious about the future. You deal with what is in front of you, one step at a time. Presence also transforms how you experience others. You listen more fully. You respond rather than rehearse. This deepens connection without emotional dependency. You can be close without merging, supportive without self-neglect. Relationships become spaces of mutual respect rather than emotional bargaining. This protects your heart without closing it. With time, you begin to notice that your sense of worth stabilizes. It is no longer swinging wildly based on success, failure, approval, or rejection. You stop outsourcing your value. This does not make you indifferent, it makes you grounded. You still care, but you are not defined by outcomes. This inner stability allows you to take risks that align with your values because your identity is not on the line every time you act. This mindset also reshapes how you experience loneliness. Loneliness no longer feels like proof that something is wrong with you. It becomes a signal, an invitation to deepen your relationship with yourself, to refine your boundaries, or to seek connection from a place of wholeness rather than lack. When you are comfortable in your own presence, you choose relationships more wisely. You no longer tolerate what drains you simply to avoid being alone. As discipline, awareness, and calm presence continue to mature, a subtle confidence emerges. Not the confidence of comparison, but the confidence of coherence. You know who you are becoming because your actions are consistent. This confidence does not need to announce itself. It is felt in how you carry yourself, how you handle pressure, how you recover from setbacks. Recovery becomes faster. You no longer spiral for long periods. You acknowledge pain, learn from it, and return to center. This is resilience, not the absence of struggle, but the ability to regain balance without self-destruction. In the coming years, resilience will matter more than talent. The ability to stay grounded under pressure will separate those who endure from those who burn out. And so, the protection you build is not a wall against the world. It is a foundation within yourself, a foundation that allows you to meet change without losing your values, to face difficulty without abandoning your dignity, and to move forward without betraying your inner truth.